What's up, YouTube? Back yet again with another video. So as we all know, the new week is already on, and the markets are already moving. So I have some outlook or analysis that I want to share with us today. Just my own view of the markets and what I expect this week on a few pairs. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at GBPUSD, Euro USD, and then finally we're going to look at NASDAQ or the NAS100. So first off, we're going to start with gold. Then we go to the gold chart. And of course, we might start from the weekly time frame. And then we can see that gold has been bullish for a long time. But then it's forming some sort of a reversal pattern. Depends with the name that you call it, but there is this pattern forming right here, which normally signifies reversal. And then yeah, it's forming something like let me use precise markings. Let's say yeah, that, and then we have this on the upside. So you can say it's something like a rising wedge or whichever name you give it, but I know it's a reversal pattern. And then yeah, so from that we already know, and then as you can see from last week, we closed with a very red bearish candle, that is a very red bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. And then we can proceed to mark our highest level. We can use that point, and then of course the lowest level where we expect, if at all the sell is going to continue, then we might expect the sell to continue up to this point or this point. But now, for now, let's go with the candle close or the close of the body. Then now from our weekly perspective, we can already see there's some bearish momentum building, and then there is last week closure with this bearish candle. So we can go to 4 hours, no, to daily, and then we see, before we go to 4 hours, then from the daily we can see there is some drop already happening. And then you can always zoom back and see we can have our, there is this level that the market was stagnant around for a while. You can have that point simply because of the rejections that were here. It's around this level, and then because of the rejection here, let's see, because of the rejection here, can also have that level, and then finally the last one we can have around that zone. So we can have that makes the area to become a valid support. So we expect the drop to continue all the way up to the support. We can do this. So somehow I'm expecting a drop up to 3268.7, which is our nearest support. But then, as you all know, you cannot just get in anywhere on the market. You have to see some confirmation and very clear signals before you do that. So if you have a big account, you can already get in for sales around this point and then target 3267, but of course your stop loss will be above 3373. But then let's go to 4 hours. As we narrow down so that we reduce our risk, we will be able to see clearly what is happening. So when we go to 4 hours, you can see there was this drop, and then some sort of consolidation around this area, and then now we are getting out of this consolidation. So it's more or less something like a break and retest. Not break and retest really, but impulse correction. So now we are breaking out of this range, and you can already see there is bearish momentum, getting in right now from this candle. So what we do, in the 4 hours, there is really not very sweet entry, because if you get in here with a 0.5 lot and then maybe you target the nearest support, but our stop loss will be above the previous zone, which that's not a very bad risk to reward. It's about 1:4. It is not bad. If you have a big account, you can take your trades from there. But then you can also mark this zone, since it's a 4-hour zone. So somehow market was struggling to break around that area. So we go to 1 hour and see what we have. So when we go to 1 hour, we can already see there was this sell that we've been in since morning. If you are not in my Telegram channel, you are missing out. There is a link in the description where I send such like signals so that you can be able to check them with me. So we took a sell in the morning at around 10 a.m. We took our sell around this point immediately after the candle closed, and then our take profit was the beginning of this zone. So that is, we made something like 100 pips in that move. Right now there is going to be some retracement to the upside, because this is a 4-hour support. Seems like a strong zone. The market will struggle a bit to break it, but the overall direction is a sell. So we might see some rejection to the upside. As we can already see, there is some rejection from that zone. So there is going to be some rejection to the upside. As you can see, there is already wicks forming from that zone. But then from our higher time frame, we know it's a sell. So most probably I would wait for the next step. The next signal will be after we break this 4-hour support, and then we have some clear confirmation before we continue with our sales to the downside. So right now I'm not in any position, and I'm just waiting to see the reaction around that zone. So that is it on gold. This week I'm generally seeing more sales happening. So we go to GBPUSD, and then when you go to GBPUSD, we can start from 4 hours, which we can already see. I had marked my key levels with the blue line. So let me just add another one like that. But then we can see GBPUSD is at already a very strong resistance level. Yeah. Yeah. Which is struggling to break. And then of course our next key level that is we are going to look at is that point. Let me put, yeah. Okay, so that would be our next key level. But then we are still dealing with the first one, since we have not broken this one yet. So we go to, but now just from our preliminary, we know that when the market gets back to your support, the next thing you need to be looking for long position. So we might be buy biased on GBPUSD and look for more buys, but then there is still no confirmation on the 4 hours. In fact, there is momentum, sell momentum pushing as at now. So we go to 1 hour, and then of course we also had a trade running on GBPUSD that we held over the weekend. We had our entry around this point, and then we closed it just a few minutes ago. We closed it at the key level we have right down there. So I shared this signal with my free Telegram community. So you click the link in the description to join us for such like moves. And then now we have some rejection happening in this zone, but since from 4 hours we are anticipating buys, but then we have to be flexible. There might not be that buy, but we might have a break and retest to this zone, then further drop to this area. So we have to really be patient on GBPUSD and see what will happen. So that is it on GBPUSD. Right now we wait. Our last pair will be NASDAQ. So we might start from 4 hour so that we can see clearly. There was this breakout structure that happened here, and then the second breakout structure at this point. Let me mark them with blue. And then now the third one is right here. We have that zone that is currently we have rejection from around this area. Yeah, so that is where Nasdaq has been playing. I have not been able to get a good entry on Nasdaq today. And then of course we have the highest point or the highest level Nasdaq has went last week at 23,981. So now, since we have a break and maybe a retest, we might wait for a clear confirmation before we go long all the way to the highest point for Nasdaq. But then we might want to go down to 1 hour. Then if you go down to 1 hour, you can already see there is this tweezer bottoms candlestick pattern that has formed around this area. So if you are aggressive enough like me, you might take one buy position there. But of course your step loss level should be below the zone. Yeah. And then our overall target profit should be, you can have it at our next support, but if you want to swing it, you can hold it all the way to our resistance level up there. So yeah, that is it on Nasdaq. Generally this week we are buy biased, and you can start looking for perfect entries so that you can stack your buys as we rally all the way up to 23,981. So yeah, that is it on the pairs that we have this week, and I wish you guys the best trades this week. So cheers, and we have a recap on Friday for our outlook. So cheers, and see you in the next one.